Megan's back. She has brought megacans and is expecting some new news. Unfortunately, this is a podcast about German politics, so it's mainly coronavirus and Nazis after all. And can Konrad explain what overhang mandates are? Also, it's dark outside, so we're allowed Stollen. Yes!
Hello everybody, it's Megan's Megacan. We're back. We didn't go away. I'm Megan and I'm here with ex-Berliner magazine, sitting in somewhat dark and dreary Berlin, but light of my life, Konrad Werner is also here. Yay!
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Very well. I'm glad you're back.
Yes.
Missed you.
Aww.
That's why I put out some Stollen.
I cannot tell you how excited I am to be here. It's getting dark and I come up and there's a little bunter Teller with Zimtstern and some Stollen-y things that I'm going to eat in a second. Thank you very much. It's made me feel very welcome.
Yeah, I mean, because it's dark outside, you need it's nice to have a bit of baked buttery goods.
Oh, I'm so excited for Christmas. I can't tell you. Anyway, it's dark outside and it's a bit grim, so it's also time for booze.
Yeah, what have you brought us?
I brought some quite nice ones today because I was going to go with rum because it was like €1 cheaper in your Späti. And I'm mildly hungover, so I was like, I cannot have any rum right now at 6 o'clock in the evening. That would be that. No. So you can have a Jack Daniel's and ginger, or you can have a Jack Daniel's Lynchburg lemonade. They're sweet, uplifting, classics.
It's generally a tough choice because those are two of my favourites.
Yeah, it's not often that is the choice I present you with. Usually it's
I already
opposite
know.
of Sophie's choice. Can I have neither? No, you must choose one. You have to take at least one with you.
Yeah, well then I would like the ginger one, please.
Nice. All right,
Okay.
there you go.
Thank you. Cheers.
I've hardly had any megas because I was away, and they don't really do them in Northern Ireland.
Don't they?
They do, but they're not megacans. They only count as megacans if they're 10%, as you well know, Konrad.
Okay, but then in that case,
That's fucking delicious, that one.
so what do they have instead? What do you do?
Well, they just have 5% or whatever. Like Marks and Spencer's does loads of them. They're good.
And then do you pour a little miniature in?
I think if you start pouring miniatures into your cans of cocktail, that is, I don't know. That's weird. Okay,
Right.
What's happened? I've been away for ages. I've also been listening to very little news. Occasionally hear some things.
Well,
I'm hoping that things have massively moved on and we've got entirely new topics to talk about, Konrad, eh?
well, quite a lot has happened, but at the same time, not very much. So you left just after the election.
I did.
So you would have thought that by now they would have decided who could be the next government. But they haven't quite decided yet. Coalition negotiations are ongoing between the SPD, the Greens and the FDP.
It's definitely going to be the Ampel, the traffic light, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's no...
barring a complete breakdown, everyone still is working on the assumption that we're going to be ruled by an Ampel, but the talks are sticking a little.
Sorry, I thought you were going to talk
bit like
longer.
that.
I've got a mouthful of Stollen. It's fucking delicious.
A bit like that Stollen to the roof of your mouth.
It's like a cross between a Stollen and a scone. Sorry, everyone, that's really gross. I took a much bigger bite than I thought. It was chewier.
So they're arguing over who is going to have the finance ministry. So at the moment, obviously the SPD, but the SPD are going to have Chancellor, and now the other two parties, the Greens and the FDP, now normally it would be the Greens because they came second. They're the second biggest party in that coalition, and so they should be them. But apparently, rumor has it that the FDP has now won the finance ministry in exchange for other concessions in other areas, possibly on climate targets.
Oh, because all they care about is money. So they're like, just give us that. We'll give you whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, apparently Christian Lindner is just dead set. He's dead set on being finance minister. It's all he really wants, and
he'd love that, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, that's real power. The finance It's huge as well.
That's terrifying.
It's that massive building on Wilhelmstrasse. It's like 2 city blocks.
Him cutting about in there. Being oh.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else coming out? What are we?
Oh, from the coalition negotiations? No, that's about it. I mean, then the other thing that's happening is the CDU. This is the other reason why everyone's decided it's going to be ample no matter what, is because the CDU is still deciding who's going to be their next leader, and it's not going to be Armin Laschet. Can you remember him?
I am going to refuse to learn the names of any of these fuckers until they have been in office for a while. I know way too much about Armin Laschet, and what good was he to man or beast? Nothing. Bloody AKK spent literally weeks learning her name. What's she doing? Nothing. I mean, I know she's like defense minister, but still.
So
I'm sorry.
You'll be
Please tell me no one is ever going to call them like the party of stability ever again. It's just Merkel. And you know, oh God.
So what they've decided, they're going to choose the next leader in January party conference, and
I don't give a fuck.
Between now and then,
I just don't give a shit.
And they're going to have a membership vote, which is the first time they've done that. Or it's the first time in a while they've done it anyway, because there was a big debate about whether they should have, let delegates decide in the conference or have direct votes from the party members, which is considered like more democratic, but also more risky. Because if you let...
Is that just anyone who's in the CDU can vote? Oh, that's wild. Okay, that is interesting.
So that's going to be...
not as interesting as...
And...
I don't know.
There are other interesting topics in life.
Yeah,
but one of them
have beginnings and middles and ends, whereas this is just one constant same story on and on and on.
Yeah. So they're going to have and that could backfire, as we know from certain elections. What happens
as we know from democracy of late. Yeah, fuck.
But apparently the CDU is so messed up now that they really think, we might as well do it this way and see what happens. How bad could it be? Because last time they did it with the other system, which was like the local parties vote for delegates and then the delegates vote. That's how they got Armin Laschet, and he was no good. So they're going to do this way, which is traditionally would favour one of the candidates. Now, can you guess?
No, I don't want to know. I think I know what you're going to say.
There are 3 candidates have so far put their hats in the ring for this. All of them men over the age of 50. One of them is Norbert Röttgen. One of them is...
We had him before.
One of them is Helge Braun, who we mentioned before, but no one...
I thought you said Helge earlier.
Helge, yeah. Helge Braun.
Helge, not Helga.
Yeah, Helge.
I thought it was a woman.
No, it's a man.
What fool I was. The only woman that could ever believe the CDU is leaving, so...
And our friend Friedrich Merz.
Oh, fuck me.
This will be his 3rd attempt to become party leader of the CDU now in recent years.
Please don't tell me that.
Well, you'd think now that the membership of voting, this would favour Friedrich Merz because he's very popular with the CDU party membership. But apparently, I've been listening to various political pundits and other insiders chatting, and it seems as if he's a little bit less popular now because people feel like he's lost already twice. Everyone kind of he apparently he did a speech for the Junge Union, which would normally be like his fanboys. His fanboys, yeah, they're the young CDU members, and like all admonishing them and telling them to put their ears up, and apparently this speech didn't go down that well at the conference. So now he's not altogether the favourite.
God.
Anyway, yeah. So there's that, and Helge Braun is. We mentioned him briefly. He's like Merkel's. He's been Merkel's right-hand man the last few years. He started out as her chief of staff, and then he was elevated to the cabinet, but without a particular brief.
Oh yeah, she just made him her fixer.
Yeah, he was the minister for special things. The minister with besondere Aufgaben or something like that. So he was just because he was like so loyal to her.
Something that you give a child that can't sit still in the classroom. You're like, okay, you're going to be my helper, because you realise they have to walk around a lot, or they're going to fucking
Yeah.
batter the kid beside them saying, can you be my...
So a lot of people are
wrong?
wondering why he suddenly decided to become a candidate for party leader, because he's not particularly famous.
No.
Or, doesn't really have much of a profile, and people are like, well, okay, let's see how this goes then. And Norbert Röttgen is the other one, and he's...
Weren't we kind of like, oh, he could be good? I mean, sorry, as CDU leaders go.
Yeah, he's like more liberal end of the CDU, more than Merz.
Well, that is going to be interesting if that's, because Merz is definitely on the other side of that, so...
Yeah.
I guess it will pull like a litmus test for how the... I'm finding it so hard to care. I don't even... And now they're not even like the leading party. I don't give... Like, they're in the opposition. I don't give a shit. Like, just fucking pick someone and let me know when they've been doing the job for a long time and it looks like they might stay. When they're past the Probezeit, the trial period, let me know and I'll learn their name.
And you know who's ruled himself out? Jens Spahn. He's not going to be a candidate. He's our health minister.
I know who Jens Spahn is, yes.
No, I know. I was just telling the listeners.
Okay.
I know you know. Yeah, he's pretty
quite
knackered
young
now.
as well, isn't he? So maybe he's realised in the absolute... And I don't think he's done a stand-up job or anything at all with coronavirus, but you do feel for the health ministers at the moment. You really...
Yeah.
Just in terms of like one human to another, like, fuck. This shit has hit the fan in your profession, hasn't it? Because you get like, oh, health, that's cool. I'm a young politician. I'll build my way up.
Yeah.
Health, I'll do this, I'll do that. I'll bring in this. Oh, here you go, Jansen. It's like, no! No!
Which is a good segue into...
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, that's why I brought him up. Did you like that?
We shouldn't keep saying that. We should make people feel like we're doing it intentionally.
Okay. So, coronavirus has been a bit of an issue this week in Germany.
I've just remembered, did we want to talk about the overhang mandate before we went on to coronavirus?
I'll come back to that.
All right, stay tuned. Everyone. Konrad thinks he can explain the overhang mandate to me.
Yeah.
Can he? We'll find out. Coronavirus.
Yeah. So this is really what we should have started with, if we were better organised. But there's been like a lot of... This is basically the most important thing that's happened this week, is that Germany's coronavirus
absolutely
numbers
lost the run of itself.
It's just it's going nuts. So Germany had more new cases of COVID-19 than any other country in the world. Any other country, including the big countries, USA, Russia, China, all those countries. We had more than 50,000 new cases on Thursday. We are Weltmeister in new coronavirus cases.
Well done.
And this is, and now our incidence rates have gone. This is higher than it's ever been in Germany. The incidence rate has gone up to over 200. It was never over 200 before. And yeah, so there's like people are going like, oh, this is bad. And also there was a lot of there are a lot of stats going around saying that the German-speaking countries in Europe have the lowest, or amongst the lowest vaccine take-up rates.
Yep.
So especially Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. Obviously, you know which ones are the German-speaking countries. But yeah.
No, it's shocking.
Yeah, we're like 70%.
We're not 70%. Because I have been watching maybe we've gone over 70%. Hang on, because I've been fucking watching the Impf dashboard.
Okay, go and check
Not
now.
daily anymore because it's so slow. And... We're on 70! It literally updated today. This morning it was 69.9 and now we're on 70%.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Of double vaccinated people.
No, that's only first vaccination.
Is it?
We're 67.4 vollständig geimpft.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right.
And the numbers have gone up, but that is mainly second and third doses, apparently, I heard on the radio.
Yeah, so apparently, I'm looking at my stats here, 4.3% have had a third dose as well. So yeah, 70% one dose, 67.42 doses, 4.3% 3 doses. So you must be due for a third dose soon.
I booked it, my Christmas booster, 15th of December in Tegel. Woo!
Oh, good. Well done.
No, I don't. I've already been shouting quite a lot about vaccines today. at some poor colleague who happened to be like, well, I just don't think it's fair that people are being forced, and I lost the absolute rag.
But that makes you the majority.
Good.
Because as of last week, a majority of Germans are in favour of mandatory vaccines. So I take it you are also in favour of mandatory vaccines.
I'm just in favour of people fucking doing the right thing and listening to science. And I do understand that there is some risk with side effects and everything, and that the vaccine cannot be taken by everybody for health reasons, but people who decide that they're just not going to do it because they don't like being told what to do, essentially, like, and they're concerned about their freedom.
Well, yeah.
And I do think that's good, that if people are saying, right, no, people should be doing, because people who've gone and got vaccinated and stuck to the measures and all of this stuff, and we're watching these numbers go through the roof, and it is going to happen, and the vaccine doesn't protect us against getting it. But you look at the situation in the hospitals, and it's people who have chosen not to take a free vaccine from the government who are now clogging up all of the intensive care state wards and are endangering the lives of other people
and being pumped full of other drugs that also have side effects.
It's mental. You don't want this disease. It's fucking horrible. But they don't want to listen to that, and I don't know. And if making life a little bit more difficult with...
Yeah, so...
I don't know.
Anyway, so...
I'm gonna stuff my face with Zimsterne and Megacans for the rest of it. It's very Christmassy, this combination, like the lemon.
Yeah.
You've got a little ginger.
Yeah, it is. It's like having a
Christmas
mega...
starts here, folks. We're going big.
Mega glühwein. Right, so that brings us on to 2G rules are being brought in many different states. They're probably not going to be brought in nationally because the coalition. Well, what's happened is that earlier this week, the negotiating parties actually started framing a new law to pass through the Bundestag, because they have to pass this law through the Bundestag before the end of November, regardless of the fact there's not actually a government, because by the end of November, the 25th, the epidemic state is going to lapse. So the last law that was governing all the rules is going to run out on the 25th of November. So they need to pass a new law now. The three parties that have a majority, so the ample parties, they've kind of framed a new law, but because the FDP is in the law, like what they have is they've got things like mandatory testing in care homes. It's like, well, yeah, they should have done that years ago. You know, that should have been anyway. But they're just going to make that into the law, so it's like quite weak. And things like mandatory vaccines for people who work in care homes is not in the new law. But that's partly because people are very worried that if they bring in something like that, then a lot of care home workers will have to leave the job, or not, or nurses.
I think they've been saying that with nurses and stuff, because they've got such massive staff shortages. It seems to me like that's the problem in Germany, as opposed to sort of like shortages of beds or equipment or all of that stuff. It's more just like there's no one to care for these patients.
Yeah, there's that.
That's terrifying. 2G,
but
though.
On their own, the states can do what they like, obviously.
Okay.
And Berlin is probably going to bring in 2G rules. 2G means that you have to be recovered or geimpft.
Or vaccinated, yes.
To do anything in public life, like basically to go to bars, restaurants, football stadiums, cinemas, clubs, anything like that.
And that does make me feel icky. It does. But also, oh, fuck, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like, you do have the option, if you're not then worried about getting coronavirus, I guess, to go and get it, and then you'll recover from it with your natural immunity, which was an argument that was being used against me today.
Okay. Yeah, and Saxony is already brought in 2G, and Saxony has the worst numbers in Germany. Like, Saxony is the highest the infection rate and the lowest vaccination rate of any state. So they've already brought in 2G, and Berlin is probably going to bring in 2G. Bavaria is also cracking down a bit, and so that's that. Any questions? any thoughts?
I don't know. That's also going to take people to check these things. And I know from a lot of people working in hospitality that, like, some people are checking, some people aren't, and then people are still getting really, they're dealing with a lot of aggro from people.
Well, the state of North Rhine-Westphalia is going ahead with the carnival this week. That carnival started yesterday, and there's supposed to be 2G, and you could tell that they're not really checking. And Carnival in Cologne is like...
So then it's even more like
all the
you
bars
are
are full.
going to have a horrible time with this disease and possibly die. Please get vaccinated. I know a lot of people, young people, fit people, who have got it whilst fully vaccinated and have been really sick. And if they weren't vaccinated, they'd be fucked. Long COVID, no nothing, or they have to go to hospital.
Yeah, I really don't want to get it.
I fucking don't. You kidding me?
I know.
But I work in a petri dish, so
How are things at school?
there's quite a few cases, and we haven't really had any before so much because our school's quite small and everything. But now it's like, oh, here we go.
Really?
All the kids, bless them, I had to explain because they're like, but whenever there was that one case in year 10 last year, they all got to go home. And I was like, the rules have changed, guys. I'm sorry, you have to stay here. And they're doing so well.
So what are the rules now?
In schools?
Yeah, so if like a kid gets it, what happens?
So we test them. We're testing 3 times a week. I don't know actually what the official thing is. I think it might be twice. And then if a kid has it and they test positive on a PCR, if the kid has been wearing a mask all the time, which they are in class still in secondary school, no quarantine for people in the class.
All right.
Yeah, primary school is now back in masks. They had masks off for a little while. Someone said to me today, I don't know if it's true, but it probably is, that like the incidence rate amongst primary school is like 800.
Yeah.
Primary school age. But I mean, my friend works in the primary and until he was like, I'm happy. I mean, I would just mask on everyone. It's disgusting.
Yeah, you don't have really a sense of hygiene until you grow older, do you?
Oh God, yeah.
You just sort of lick the floor.
But they're being good. Our kids are all, even now when they're vaccinated, we're asking them to test. And they're all doing it. And then they're allowed to take their masks off in exams. And they're really excited about that. It's fucking pathetic. Anyway,
Yeah.
you got anything else for me?
Oh, I got loads. How much time have you got? How much Megacan have you got left?
Solid third.
Would you like Nazis or Bundestag overhang mandates?
Oh, fuck. Right, let's go Nazis, and then we can see if you can manage the Bundestag overhang.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll save that for the last 1/8 of my Megacan.
Okay.
Right. So, Nazis. There's like a new refugee crisis. Although you don't quite call it a refugee crisis, but there's a lot of refugees arriving across the eastern border with Poland at the time. And a few weeks ago, a vigilante group made up of a certain group of Nazis called the Third Path started little... what do you call them?
Was that the Dritte Weg? Is that those lads, or is this? Yeah.
They started little like vigilante groups going along the border patrols, armed with batons and pepper spray. One of them had a bayonet.
What's wrong with people?
I mean, I don't want to overblow this story because there was only about 50 people, and
that's a lot.
They were called across from all over Germany. They came there to the Polish border. Basically, the police told them all to go home. Didn't arrest anyone, but they said, you can't do this, go away, and confiscated their weapons. That happened a few weeks ago. So this group is like a hardcore splinter group from the NPD. I went on their website. They're a legitimate, they're like a political party. You could vote for them.
Yeah.
They were also in the news during the election campaign because they hung up posters saying "Hang the Greens." Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
So just in the last couple of weeks before the election, there was a few court cases because the Greens sued them for hanging up these posters. Their excuse was, this is their argument in court, was that, well, our colour is green, so we want to hang up more green posters. That was the joke, but obviously the meaning was hanging the Greens. And the first Saxony court that had this actually took their side and said it's fine to hang up these posters, and then other federal courts said, no, hang on, they overruled it.
What the holy Saxony, get it together.
So those posters had to be taken down. So that was the Third Path, and
What a pack of dicks.
Yeah, they're extremely openly anti-Semitic and racist. They believe in the great replacement theory. They think that that the government is deliberately bringing immigrants into the country to replace the German biological stock.
Yeah, the sooner the better if this is what we're fucking dealing with.
So that's the Nazi story this week.
Great. God, it doesn't even bear thinking about.
It was a bit of a story because it's never happened before. That was why. I mean, there's never been because we've heard about these sort of vigilante groups in Hungary, but never here. Anyway, overhang mandates.
All right, let's go, Konrad. So
good.
Let me tell you what I understand from the overhang mandate, which is nothing. So I understand German, the federal voting. Up to a certain point, so it's proportional representation.
Yeah.
Ish. There's lists and things that you have 2 votes. I don't really understand that, but basically proportional representation. And to get into the Bundestag, you have to get 5%, and then you get a certain amount of seats depending on how many votes you got, whatever.
Right.
And then this happens, and I don't understand it. And everybody who's ever tried to explain it, including some videos, official German, the Bundes whatever website cannot satisfactorily explain this to me. So now I'm a bit drunk, filled with sugar and Zimt. I'm excited.
So the new Bundestag was constituted as well while you were away, and it was the biggest one ever. And the reason why it was the biggest one ever is because there were more overhang seats than ever before. Now,
literally overhang. They're hanging off. They're all just like 2 to a seat.
Yeah.
How many people are in the Bundestag this year?
Oh, 700 and something.
Fuck.
I can't remember the exact number. 730 something, I think.
No wonder never anything gets done or changes.
It's the biggest. This is an interesting little factoid. It's the biggest parliament in the world after the Chinese parliament. Okay.
Really? That's wild.
Yeah.
We're still beating them in the corona numbers, though. Watch out, China.
Right. So, you get 2 votes. One of them is for your local candidate.
Yeah.
And one of them is for the party in general.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is that if you if a party then say, and then when you get the second vote is the one for the party in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to get a certain number of seats for proportional to how many percentage of the overall electorate voted for you.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens in practice is that you get the direct candidates get into parliament anyway, and then you get a certain number of seats from the proportional representation bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the second votes. But the thing is, if you have loads and loads of direct seats, and you only have, you win 30% of your direct seats. I'm getting it wrong already.
Yeah, no, this makes sense. So,
and then you get but from overall, you only get you get only 20% of the second votes.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be fair because you won a lot of direct seats. So you get extra seats to make up for the fact that you won a lot of seats directly. So say your party share,
like a bonus.
Yeah. So if a party's share entitles you to 10 seats, but your candidates win 7 direct seats, you get 3 overhang mandates. So you get 3 extra.
I wish I wasn't drunk.
You get 3 extra seats because you already won. You won all these direct. You won all these direct seats, but according to the proportion of the overall number of seats, you shouldn't have 10 seats. But that isn't fair because you won those guys deserve to be in there. So you get 3 extra seats. So you get those guys to go in separately. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
And what happens is because we have more and more parties in Parliament now,
yeah.
especially because the AFD enters Parliament and everything,
Get them out. Everyone has more seats.
that
Both
means
literally
that
and figuratively, they must be chock-a-block.
so that means like it favors the biggest parties like the CDU and SPD will get like but because because they're smaller now, and that everyone is no party has got more than 30%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to have more overhang mandates because a lot of people are winning the seats directly, but their proportion, according to the proportional representation, is lower. So they get extra seats to make up for that.
Okay. This seems insane, but fine. So loads of people get in now. We've got a massive parliament. Is anyone going like, here, lads, this is unsustainable. We can't do we need to change this law?
Yeah, there are some moves towards reforming the way the parliament functions, because if it gets too big, then it is unsustainable.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the bigger parties, especially the CDU and the SPD, they don't want to change it because it favors them, because they know that they'll win more direct mandates than everyone else, so they'll get extra seats this way. So that's why it doesn't always happen. Anyway, I think I explained it.
No, that does actually make sense now. Good, thank you. So, to recap, I went away.
Yeah.
We haven't had a podcast for a while. I've come back and we talked about CDU leadership, coronavirus, and neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
Right.
There wasn't nothing actually new happened. You didn't really miss much, but you never know. There's like things,
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to be back with you, and I'm happy to have delicious little snacks, little treats. But, maybe next time I'm away,
we will have moved on.
Something else will have happened.
Well, probably, because by that time we'll have a new cabinet, and then we can talk about all the different new ministers and what they're going to do. Like, what if Annalena Baerbock becomes foreign minister or something? And then we can talk about that, if you want.
Oh, God. I might have to wait to the new year. Do you think we'll have a new parliament by Christmas, or a new government by Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, why? Yeah, but I have no idea. But possibly, yes.
I mean,
yeah.
Why? Why not? Why not? We voted on the 26th of September.
We should have. I mean, we should, because what else are they going to do? I mean, they've got nothing else to do but talk about something, and everyone knows that. It looks bad the longer it goes on. It's not in their favour.
You can imagine, they must all just be loving it. There's a lot of, new people in there for the first time, and they're all, throwing their fucking weight around and being like, oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully people, won't get sick and stuff. And
please go and get vaccinated if you're not. I can't imagine anyone could possibly still be listening to this podcast if they're not vaccinated, because it's all that fucking shite on about.
I know, because
and it's like
you must have an urge to just turn off this podcast at some point if you don't want to get vaccinated.
Yeah. If you're an anti-vaxxer listening, what's going on in your life if you're still listening to me? Yeah, I should have more empathy for people who are afraid and have worries and things. But honestly, you don't have to be afraid. Just read some science, not YouTube science, and then go and get vaccinated. I don't think it's that. I think just loads of people don't read the news and don't care. They don't want to be told what to do. I think that's other people and in some cases that is very admirable, and in some cases it makes you a selfish prick. You might have to edit that out later. I don't know how. I don't know. I'm fucking drunk now. Crashed from my sugar high.
What do people post on Twitter? Might delete later, or Instagram?
Maybe.
Mood, but might delete later. It's some like hashtag or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we finished?
I think so. You finished your Megacan?
Yeah, I finished, yeah.
How was yours?
Lovely, yeah.
Delicious, isn't it?
I've missed them. I haven't had one for ages.
Don't you? I've enjoyed like putting a few new people onto them recently, and they're like, first few steps are like, this is disgusting. I made some when we went to see James Bond the other night.
And you're like, that's what they all say.
Exactly. And then, because I told you about my brother who was like, these are disgusting, Megan. And then he's going out to a party a few weeks later and he was texting me, he was like, could really do with a Mega. I was like, yeah, you could. It's like Party Stimmung in a Dose. But yeah, and then we watched James Bond with a Mega, which I can highly recommend. Not really the film, but you have to have a Mega because you can't. It's 3 hours long.
I know. You need something to numb the experience.
Yeah, like it's fun. I love James Bond, but like, what, you're going to just go sober? No. Bring a Mega, sneak in some pick and mix.
Drink it secretly. Okay.
All right.
Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you. It's been lovely to be back.
Yeah. It's good to have you back.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.